Of the Formula Racing League Super Sprint Sunday, brought to you by Simnet. My name is Chad Prentice, and we, for the third to last race of the season, or third to last event, I should say, of the season, are at the Nurburgring Nordschleiffe, nicknamed by Jackie Stewart as the Green Hell, the ultimate test of man and machine in endurance GT racing. As you can see now, we combine not only the new Nurburgring, so the Formula One Grand Prix circuit that was used up until 2013, with a little hiatus, or with a little return in 2021 and 2020, I do believe. We are also using the Nordschleife that has claimed so many victims over the years in terms of crashes and in terms of the drivers that have travailed this particular circuit. Easier for me to get my words out. We're looking at Mark and Bristolli in the second place. Now, there is a bit of a change in the format in terms of we've still got the 20-minute sprint race, which will equate to about 25 minutes after 3 laps, of an 8-minute lap, as you can see there, from Jared Vermeulen, all the way down to 8.5 minutes at the moment from Michael Coppens. You've also got the 40-minute race, which is, again, going to be more like 8 or 9 laps, so could then go on to 45 minutes, just depending on how the racing expires, just in terms of how quick they can get around. I would have thought that it would be about 6 laps, I would have thought, with it being 5 laps taking about 40 minutes, so will be probably about 43 minutes, I would have thought. But there is also a rule in terms of qualifying. Yes, as always, you have to set only one lap, only one time lapse. Once you start that time lap, it is over if you make a mistake. But you can see where the drivers are colour-coded according to their numbers, that's according to their class. That will become more important this evening compared to any other, because drivers in the AM class must leave the garage within the first 2 minutes of qualifying. They then go round the Grand Prix circuit, so it cuts out the first sector almost and just had a little chicane up until the fourth chicane, which you'll see a little bit earlier on in the lap. So a layout that's similar to what the 2001 Formula One circuit was. They've got 2 minutes to go out. Then you have a minute's gap between the last AM leaving the garage and the silvers that will then have to leave the garage. They've got 2 minutes from the 7 minutes mark onwards. They've got 2 minutes to get out and start their out lap, go round the Joker lap. Silver drivers, are in the greyed out numbers, so you can see from Kalugin down to Gierman as a reference point. And then you've got the Pro class. They will have then again to wait another minute before they can leave the garage, and from there on they have the final 2-3 minutes to get out and go and set their lap time. Again, they have to do the Joker lap, and once they cross the line to start the 8-minute lap, you can see there from Jared Vermeulen, 8 minutes and 8 seconds, which is almost steady going for the South African. He was warming up earlier on in the 8-minute 4, see if he can get a good lap, but it's so difficult around this 150 corner circuit, the longest obviously that we'll go to by a long way, hence the comparatively few number of laps. But you've only got one go at this, and this track with it's almost Monaco through the forest. I mentioned earlier that, or previously, that Bathurst was the Monaco on the mountain in Australia, but Markel and Bristolli were going round and just displaying there, even around the back of the circuit. Where are we? We're now not that far from the Duttinger, so about 2/3 of the way through the lap. Coming up to the carousel now, just how little room for error there is. It's the narrowest track on the calendar by a country mile at certain places until you get to the Grand Prix track. You've got the carousel there, which has Armco barriers lining the walls. You've then got the big unforgiving curbs as well, almost acting like sleeping policemen in their own right. We hear it so often in Formula One. Well, especially at the speeds you get up to in a GT car, then that is the very definition of a sleeping policeman. A couple of bumps down there as well for throwing in for good measure. A couple of dips, so actually your car will get air. So Bristolli now, as we can see, displaying just how old school and different this particular track is. This track obviously hosted the German Grand Prix up until 1976, before the new circuit was built. And as we see now, Bruchtulli, they're just displaying exactly how much it will stay with the Canadian for the entirety of the lap, because 1 minute left to go in practice. There'll be plenty of time left with a load of drivers still. You can see all the way down to car 442 and car 104, so that's Maximilian Bordivet and Luke Richings all the way at the first sector. I think Richings just going through Flugplatz now, isn't he? So going towards what is officially the end of the third sector, but we're only getting 3 sectors here, so timings, I will upwarn you, especially in the race, will take on average 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes to upload. So as we've got a little bit of time to kill effectively before the end of the first practice session, the only practice session, the 30 seconds ago it says, but more like 5 minutes, I'll take you through the drivers' standings as they are. We're going to start with the AM class, and we're going to find Greg Wood, who has a commanding lead at the top of the standings, although he's not out on circuit despite what is being said. So we can see, hopefully try and see if we can find an AM driver that is out on the circuit. I think it will be, but we'll have a look actually at Bruchtulli waiting to complete the lap in the bush down the Dersinghöhe. But I'll take you through the lead of the AM class at this moment in time, which is Greg Wood, as you've just seen there. He's on 289 points. He's 43 points clear of Jeffrey Defart in second. So the 11 Aston Martin is 43 clear of the McLaren, driven by Jeffrey Defart, the Belgian, who has shown marked improvement since his debut in the championship around about a year ago. Darren Townsend is in third in the pink number 9 McLaren. He is on 237 points, so he's 9 points behind Jeffrey Defast, with Jamie Thacker returning to form in fourth. So winner last time out and has shown more pace than perhaps the two directly above him, but he's only on 224 points and therefore 13 points off of a medal. You've got Michael Coppens in fifth in the Ferrari, the first Ferrari in the standings. He is in fifth position on 214 points. He's nearly 40 points clear. He's 39 points clear of Owen Harris, who has had a bit of a difficult start to the season. He's had a lot more pace than sixth place would suggest. He's just ahead of Dreadlock Steve in the Aston Martin on 139 points, with Dreadlock Steve as qualifying starts a little bit early, so we'll try and see if we can get a couple of AM drivers now. We've got Jamie Thacker, car number 7, in the black and silver Ford Mustang, so you'll see the Joker lap coming into action. Now you can hit the curbs or the cones that are splitting the Joker lap from the Nordschleiffe lap. That is only going to be used in the qualifying and practice session. We've got Greg Wood behind him as well. Take you through the rest of the AM Championship with Jack Barnett following in, where is he? He's in 8th, behind Miguel Silva in the Ford Mustang on 125 points. Ben Kruger is in 9th. He's a Patriot member, so he's been able to change from what was a Ferrari and a McLaren to what is now a Ford Mustang. So that is the bonus of the Patriot membership, more of which will be detailed a little bit later on. Darren Davis follows ahead of Dale Kelleher, the luckless Dale Kelleher, having started this season injured and not been able to get going. Jochen Bereth is third from last ahead of Paul Trotman and Ryan Feig. Paul Trotman on 71 points, though, if he has a good weekend, can get him up into the top 10. As we can see now, the Joker lap now coming in, so through the Warsteiner curve there, the second of the chicanes around the back of the circuit after the Schumacher race, which they've just gone through now. So up here, they'll follow the Formula 1 racing line in that they will keep to the left-hand side out of the NGK chicane that's coming up. So you've got the NGK chicane, he'll take the curve and then he'll keep left. When he's on his lap, Jamie Thacker, he will pull to the right and turn off to go into the green hell. He actually keeps it very tight, doesn't he? The inside, that's because he doesn't want to hit the barrier on the inside. Keep the car to the right hand side. You can hit the curbs, but you don't have to. Then the car should naturally drift over to the left hand side. We'll have a look now at the Silver Championship. We've got a bit of time here. So Real Serfontein now leads ahead of Chris Gebman. So Chris Gebman has overtaken Gordon Brown, who had a bit of a save at Snetterson last time out, even if he has dropped now to third position. So Serfontein on 318 points is 25. No, he isn't. He is, yes, 25 clear of Chris Gebman, with Gordon Brown on 275. So those three making it an interesting battle at the top. with Terry Tierney on debut in 4th on 264, just 4 points clear of Serafino Gabino. Lee Colpitts is up into 6th place after a really strong showing last time out on 256. He's in the pink BMW ahead of Richard Gearman. A really tight silver championship with Gearman on 245 points, only 70 or so behind Renat Serfontein. Richings follows Jordan Marshall next up in the pink Ferrari, Marshall in the Mercedes. We will see ahead of Marco Lino and Alexander Kalugin stepping up to the silver championship. Kalugin beset by penalties really that have rather derailed his campaign. The Russian Sam Greaves next up in the BMW, the second of the BMW M4s. Michel van der Waal follows James O'Leary, and with Maximilian Moordeweg 13th and last in the championship. So bit of work to do there for the German. As we can see now, Jamie Thacker on the main part of his laps. He's got Darren Townsend just ahead. Townsend will turn to the right-hand side if you can see him. Townsend will turn to the right and go on to his main lap. So the cars are not now allowed to leave. Silver drivers are not now allowed to leave until, well, about now actually. Luke Richings is one of those out on circuit, so we'll see there. We'll keep an eye on Jamie Thacker as he goes through the first sector. We'll see. Have to keep an eye on the sector times a little bit more. We'll have a little bit more license to do that, as the 6 minutes that you see will likely end up being about 15 minutes, probably once all is said and done. So that, without further ado, gives us time to have a look at the Pro Championship. I was about to say God, but it's the Pro Championship, which is becoming a bit one-sided. Jan Vermeulen on 546 points is 51 points clear of Daniel Crossman on 495. He himself has got a near 100-point lead on Marcelin Bruch-Tully. Bruch-Tully, 399 points, is ahead of Othman El Fadawi on 358. Josh Clayton in 5th on 340. Wouter Heijmans is in 6th in the Uni Gold Ferrari for this weekend in car 717 on 328 points. He's 6 points clear of Andrew Eden and a further 20 points clear of Demian van der Waal. Morgan Grace is next up in 8th position. He is on 281 points ahead of Steve Zer in 9th on 245. Vaclav Pospisil is next up on 239 before Maximilian Basler, Fabio Travaglioni and Johnny Sharp follow, with those three drivers not having enough, or not having completed all of the races so far. Dale Callaghan's another one to have fallen foul. He's just reported of the track limit, so was already invalidated. That's one AM driver at least who's gone up in smoke, as Jorge Santos, I think one of the reserves, is in the pits. He's another man to have gone in, fallen foul of the track limit. So has Darren Davies, actually in car 27. So you those to be starting towards the back, with limited time now for the pro drivers to leave their pit, or leave the pits and get out onto the racetrack. They won't be far away at all. They're still in the pits at the moment. It's up until 4 minutes. I think you've got 4 minutes, and then you've got the third minute, or 3 minutes to go, when the pros will actually be leaving. So you've got the timings now. I'll just go and have a quick look again, make sure that all the information is as accurate as it possibly can be. So yeah, pit exit is closed up until the next 10 seconds, and then the pros have 2 minutes to get out before the pit exit is closed with 2 minutes to go. That's to try and ensure an orderly transition and an orderly, well, you've got obviously the choker lap to go and do as well, haven't you? But try and get them done as quickly and as promptly as possible. Jamie Thacker is leading the AM chase at the moment, so we'll have a look at the timetables if we possibly can. It's not showing anything at the moment, but that's probably more likely because the laps haven't actually been completed. So not much in the way of live timing to show you here, but Jamie Thacker in car number 7 certainly showing the way. And the Ford Mustang should be pretty good around this track. It's not the hardest car in terms of handling. It's not the quickest, not the best car in terms of handling, but it's got good straight line speed, despite having been nobbled a bit by the BOP rules that changed a couple of years ago. But it's a fairly easy car to drive in terms of it's not going to snap unnecessarily. Whilst there is a little bit of understeer built in, it's also a fairly comfortable car over bumps and curves. You don't want to be hitting the curves too hard, and you won't be in the Ford Mustang, but it's an all-round package. Certainly very drivable, certainly something that the AMs will be happy to use. Richard Gearman is another man to have fallen foul of the conditions. Wouter Heijmans yet to leave, or may be serving a penalty. I think there's a couple of penalties to be served, which we'll catch up on a little bit later on. But Richard Gearman is in the pits. So another man to have fallen foul of the track limit. As Vian Kruger, Jeffrey DeFast and Marco Lino all have done likewise. So it's about half a dozen, isn't it, drivers already, 7 drivers who have already fallen foul of track limits. So we're going to get plenty of no time set with Thacker as we follow around the rest of the lap. What he's got is probably about 2/3 of the way through. So doing a good job at the moment, the Mustang, of just keeping everything together. He's shown a lot of pace in qualifying. We'll have a look at a couple of other contenders and go back to Jamie Thacker a little bit later on. Here's Greg Wood, the championship leader. Hasn't always been the outright quickest car. I think he'll be the first to admit this season, but has certainly been the most consistent. A couple of penalties have actually cost him an almost sweep, really, of clean sweep of podiums. But bearing in mind, he started the season at Kyalami 4 weeks ago on the back row, and took podium finishes in both of the races at Kyalami. It's been an impressive season back in the Sunday AM Championship for the former commentators. Certainly laid the groundwork over the last 18 months from a broadcasting point of view, so we wish him well there, and we're pleased to see him thrive in the AM Championship on a Sunday sprint. It's not Saturday, is it? The weekend's young, but not that young. Darren Townsend, meanwhile, is a little bit further back. He's still yet to go through the carousel, but he's given himself, hopefully, possibly, the best of the track conditions, hasn't he, by allowing the other drivers ahead to, hopefully, anyway, give just a little bit more grip. Hopefully, if there's more rubber down, doesn't make an awful lot of difference, but it might just make a 1% of difference, which Townsend, who has been quick this season and has improved that consistency through most of the races he had this season, he's improved that by quite a bit. So we're going to see now, as Jamie Thacker goes onto the dirting, is he being caught by Greg Wood? It looks very slightly closer, don't know, but the second times aren't appearing, so I'm having to rely on 2 very small dots as off goes. That is car 666. The Dreadlock Steve is another man to have joined drivers in the Invalidation Club. Dreadlock Steve got most of the way round before he binned it, so he'll be gutted. That's about over 5 minutes, isn't it, wasted for the Englishman, but he'll be starting towards the back. It might be to his advantage, actually, to be starting a little bit further ahead of the rest, depending on how far around he got. As Jamie Thacker in the Mustang goes down the dirting hill, and now he's just coming up to the final sector. You have to really commit here. You have to be flat out through the right-hander if you dare, but then get the braking done in a straight line straight after. Don't go too mad on the left-hander there, because all you want to do is concentrate on a good exit to effectively fire you out of the final corner. We're going to get the first time to be set, and it's going to be Jamie Thacker, who goes 8 minutes 23.7, a very solid AM time. Is Greg Wood, who's not going to be setting a lap time. He got to the final corner before he has binned it. So drama in the AM class. Who's next across the line? It's going to be car 31, I think. Car 31 is Miguel Silva, and in the Ferrari takes a much more careful and considered approach to the final complex compared to Greg Wood. So Miguel Silva, the Luxembourg driver, what is he going to do? Is it going to be pole position? Is it going to be second? It's second, 9.9 seconds off the pace, which sounds a lot, but really is not. Car 777 is next across the line. That's Owen Harris, who has also gone through the wall, got into the wall and gone off the circuit. So more disasters there for that particular party. Michael Coppens is next. Is he across the line? No, there's another car ahead. We're going to try and see what it is. I've got no chance, really. So Michael Coppens is going to pull off to the right-hand side as Jack Barnett, 6.2 seconds, nestles himself into third position. Not an awful lot of drivers are going to set a lap time, but car 36 is one of them. Wherever on earth he's gone, car 36 has got into the pits. That's Michael Coppens. So it's going to be Darren Townsend, who I think is going to be last across the line. So the AM drivers, 4 of them setting a lap time out of the, well, it's nearly 10, 12, isn't it, that are going to set it. I think it's 11, actually, that are on the grid. So Darren Townsend, all you've got to do is keep the thing pointing in the right direction and don't go on the grass, and you'll be in the top 4 in class. So we're building speed. The McLaren, not the fastest in the straight line speed, but should be pretty stable over the brakes. Through the dirting hill we go. Down the hill, he's not using all of the track, but he's keeping the car in a straight line, which is all you need to do for a bit. Now, can you go flat? No, not quite, but are you going to be considered into the final complex? Get your braking done in a straight line. Make sure that you don't do anything silly on the brakes, and he's going to fire himself out of the final corner. Where's this going to put him? He's going to keep the car to the left-hand side as straight as he possibly can. Goes across the line, and actually through the middle he goes, and he goes fourth. It was a considered lap time from Darren Townsend, who 22 seconds off the pace, might just have taken a sensible pill. So pole position for the AM class is Jamie Thacker in the car number 7 Ford Mustang, the Craig Lowndes inspired livery. I'm convinced, might be convinced otherwise. So car 215 is going to be the first cross line. It's championship leader in the silver class. That is Rinart Serpentine. So Serpentine, down the straight we go in the Ferrari, building speed as much as you possibly can. Where is this going to put him? We're going down to the end of the dirty cover, so that long straight. Couple of kinks coming up now, but can you be committed? But can you be sensible? It does break just a little bit through the right-hander. Don't blame him at all. Keeps it all nice and sensible through the final couple of corners, and that is qualifying over. I think we might have a bit of an error here, as I would suggest that the drivers are not going to complete the lap time, so I would suggest that we are going to be doing this all over again, because I would suspect that there is going to be a server reset because the driver's not able to complete their laps, and I think that a technical issue has come up. Well, better that we do it in qualifying than we do it in the race. A lot of the drivers out and round, and well, we'll see exactly how this all shakes out, but I would suspect we're going to go to a couple of drivers who are just going around anyway. Might as well keep some cars or some action out on the circuit, and people like Jamie Thacker, Jack Barnett, Miguel Silva and Darren Townsend, well, they'll have to go again, I would suspect. But if you're Greg Wood, if you're Michael Coppens, if you're Santos, if you're Dreadlock Steve, if you're Richard Gearman, if you're Darren Mark Davies, just to name a few, Owen Harris, another man who hit strife going through the final corner, well, fortunately for yourselves, you might get another go. Vic Kruger and Jeffrey DeFarce, another to have bitten the dust early on. Dale Kelleher, who also ended up off and into the weeds, didn't he, in his qualifying attempt. But I suspect that there will be a restarting and a re-go. This isn't something that you get really in regular racing, but you will, well, occasionally on sim racing and in sim racing, you do get technical problems. So here we go as Maximilian Bordenberg and that gorgeous sounding Lamborghini coming down the Dirting Hill, one of the slower cars in a straight line. Now, is he going to be all attack? Well, we might as well build it up a little. We have a little bit of fun. Is he going to be all attack as we await for an announcement for what happens next? I assume we'll be going again. Slow mode has been enabled, probably to stop the what on earth is going on from a few drives there. He gets out of shape, actually, doesn't he, through there? And I suspect that we will get another chance to go racing once again. So, yeah, a couple of drivers making light of it, as you should do. And in this situation, the admin's obviously doing a very, very good job, even if you do get some minor technical grumbles, minor technical miscalculations as you get the admins. So we are effectively going racing. I assume that we will be restarting, although there's a couple of drivers who are actually quite happy, even the AM drivers and pro drivers are actually quite happy to get going. I doubt that that will be the case. Terry Tierney says he doesn't have another valid lap in him, but the Irishman never got to finish his lap. We've got now, we'll see, hopefully, as an update should be coming. I can see a couple of admin drivers who are asking what's going on, a couple of admins who are trying to get this sorted out. I suspect that this will be for the love of the game, anybody that does get going. And we will see now with 2 minutes to go until what I don't think is going to be the race start, as the drivers request and wonder what is going on, as we can see hopefully now with 2 minutes to go until race start. Not going to talk much about strategy. What I am going to do, this is a really good, as Chris Gedman has confirmed a red flag to be coming, as there will be 5 minutes to go. There'll be a reset with qualifying being redone as the connection fails once again. So we are going to have a quick word for our sponsors, which is Simnet. So the leading producer of sim racing accessories, from boots to sim reg, bits and bobs, gloves, anything you want will be found at the Simnets arranged on the Simnet website. So do please check those out in the interim period, whilst we've obviously got us on YouTube in the intervening couple of minutes. There'll be, I would suspect, a 2 or 3 minute practice session to be set up to allow all the drivers to get back in before we go qualifying once again. This also, I mentioned the Patreon server a little bit earlier on. It seems actually a pretty good idea to mention that now. So Vian Kruger was able to change his car from the McLaren to the gold Mustang that you saw just a moment ago. That is because he is a Patreon member. For £4 a month, you can be a Patreon member, and for that, it's about half of a Big Mac meal. But for that, you can get access to servers early. You can get your own little practice server as well, which is not shared with a non-Patreon member. So it means you can basically go and test whatever cars you want to test. You get early access to the championships, and you get to change your car if you're not happy with it. I know it's a rule that I haven't yet made use of, but I know so many people that have, including Vian Kruger, who has gone from Ferrari to Mustang. To be honest, the Ferrari being what it is, it's better to drive a Mustang from a sound point of view if you're not worried about your racing.